Welcome to another episode of One Step Ahead. In this episode, we are focusing on our bodies as referees, our preparation pre-events, pre-tournaments, pre-refereeing games, and our management of our body during and post. So some stuff that's really, really important that we need to think about is how we actually ensure that we are free from fatigue, free from pain, free from issue, free from injury. So all of those things are less likely to occur if we're preparing ourselves properly. So that means we are mentally fit and we are physically fit. So some background, I guess, for you, having been involved in the sport for a long time, as most of you who know me know, I'm really astounded by how many basic injuries and niggles referees get quite often, to be honest with you. Part of it's due to that lack of preparation on their own fitness, and part of it is just due to a lack of knowledge of how to best care for yourself and prepare for tournaments, hence why we've decided to create this episode. There is that small component that is genuine injuries due to overexertion or poor field conditions or changes in the field dynamics, as in if you are normally refereeing on soft ground and you go to hard or vice versa, it does make a big difference to your feet, to your legs, to your muscles. Regardless of the reason though, we believe that if we share some tips and tricks, we help educate everyone a bit better, we can reduce the number of injuries, niggles and withdrawals from events. We also hope that this will inspire you to add some of your own stuff, send some stuff through, share some more ideas you have, even if it's your own little warm-up, cool-down mechanism, anything else that you have, a little trick that you have, so that we can educate the whole world together. Before we move forward further, I want to thank Ann Cramp for sharing some of her knowledge with us. She's amazing. If you don't know her, she's someone that you need to get around if you have the opportunity at events. She knows her stuff like nobody else. So my personal suggestions is where we'll start, and then we'll move on to some video from our experts, so from Ann. I just want to go through a few everyday stretches that I would encourage you to do every day, as well as some tips around warming up, cooling down. But please remember, the more you know, the easier it is to do things, and education is power. It's what will enable you to make a difference for yourself and others. Okay, so today we're here to talk about the seated butterfly stretch. So for many of you, you'll be able to get your feet together quite a distance from here, and your knees will be quite upright. You won't be able to stretch down very far when you first start doing this. And quite often some people can't even get their feet together because they're not very flexible in their groin and whatnot. So once you are able to be in position, nice and straight, upright, putting our arms just on here to rest, you'll feel a bit of pressure. If you then tighten and move forward, keeping your back nice and straight, you'll feel the pressure more and you'll be able to push down. So as you get more flexible, you can bring it in further and actually push right down to the smaller gap you have here, the better, obviously, and you're able to push down on your knees, on your legs, to make sure that you're nice and flat, or as flat as possible, making sure you're feeling the pull through here. It just makes sure that as we run our angles, we're nice and loose, and it then minimizes the risk of injury. So you do that, you hold that for 15 to 20 seconds, depending on how much you want to stretch, obviously. 15 seconds is a good amount of time, and then once that time is up, then you release. Maybe move your feet apart if you want to, depending on how you're feeling, and then you might do it again. So each time you do it, as you get more flex or less strain, if you like, you're able to then go further and potentially even hold for longer. So all of the stretches that we show you are all about just ensuring that your body is prepared for what actions they're about to undertake. So obviously if we're pivoting and sprinting on an angle, we're utilizing our groin muscles or tendons that run through here quite a lot, and a lot of strain and power and pressure goes through them. So making sure that we're prepared is really important. So my only word of advice is don't push too hard too soon. You don't want to overdo it. You don't want to stretch, strain, or cause injury. So it's okay if you're not very flexible and your legs are quite high in the initial phases. If you do it a few times a day, so morning and night for a while, you will find that it will slowly but surely get looser and you'll be able to get better stretch out of it. Other stretches that I do every day are eccentric heel drops. So basically what you're doing is you're on one foot as you drop down. So if you've got a sunken lounge room or you've got something that you can stand on that's safe, a little step outside, ensuring that if you are doing it on stairs or anything else that you're thinking about your safety. So make sure there's something you can hold on to. So you do not want to fall down and hit your head. But yes, so you're stretching all the way down on the one foot, and then you put both feet back together and you stretch all the way up with both. and then you can either just do the 1 foot several times and then swap, or you can swap each time. But it's really important that you're holding it. You're not going flat out. You're actually using your weight to let you lower down, holding, 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 and then lifting up with the 2 legs. Strengthens your Achilles, and it means that if you have a better and stronger Achilles, then you're actually increasing your mobility. So there's less strain running through your calves as well, which helps. So a really good one. So there is no doubt that low lunges or any form of lunging assists us. So there are different ways that you can do that. You can come out in a push-up kind of position, bringing your foot forward, making sure that your back leg is nice and flat. If you bring it further forward, you'll get more of a stretch, particularly here initially. And then as you come up and lean forward, keeping yourself tense, you should feel the pull as you lean through here and down here. So you're leaning in, ensuring that you're stretching, holding that obviously, and then you do the same for the other side. So the stretching sensation should be in your thigh and groin area. It shouldn't be too intense. If it's too intense, you're pushing too hard. Remembering we're trying to stretch and loosen our body, we're not trying to damage it. So just keep that in mind when you're doing these. We should be getting into the position and then holding for 15 to 20 seconds. Some experts will tell you 30 seconds is better. So really up to you. As you're starting, I would suggest a smaller time frame and not too much pressure. And as you go, you can increase time frames and pressure. Other things, so I use a Vivid. So that's basically a vibrating rolling machine. So I only use it on my feet, but you can obviously use it, as the pictures show you, on all parts of your body, multiple parts of your body. So basically it's designed to stimulate blood flow, accelerate your muscle recovery, prevent injury, and increase your flexibility, and reduces some stress as well associated with that. Basically, you should be doing it for about 3 to 4 minutes each day, and you put on as much weight as you feel comfortable. So it's very similar to a standard roller, but this gives the vibration as well, which assists in loosening our feet up, for example, if it's on our feet, and it's that smaller shape than a roller to really get in under there. So Ann has other ideas around what you can use, which is obviously cheaper and works almost the same. So don't think that you have to go out and buy one of these fancy devices. There are plenty of things in the market that you can buy that are much cheaper that you could all have in your kits. So moving on to your warm-up and cool-down, the ones in the blue circles are the ones that I regularly see players and referees doing. So thinking about why we're doing them is important. So why are we stretching down to our toes? So we're stretching our back, we're loosening our core, got strain down the back of our legs at the same time. So we're thinking about the groups of muscles and areas of our body that are the core areas that we use. So our core and our legs. So, knees to chest, calf stretches, quadricep stretches. There are many, many other stretches that everybody does. Please, please, please keep in mind that while static stretches are okay, dynamic stretches are much better. So I would suggest maybe do some static stretches before you go out and go for your little jog to warm up. Get those muscles a little bit looser. And then once we're out there, we're doing dynamic stretches. So these are the ones I see a lot of referees doing, and players as well. High knees, leg swings, lunges, butt kicks or heel kick flicks, depending on what you want to call them. I do see people doing some of the other ones and a whole heap of others. Everyone's warm-up will be tailored to them and their body, and they should be. No, not all of us should have the exact same warm-up, but we should have all of the areas that we're going to use warmed up and stretched in our warm-up. So that's really important. Remembering that jogging, maybe high knees forwards versus high knees backwards, gives different parts of our body stretches, which is probably important that we quite often overlook. But really making sure that we are fully stretched limits or lowers the risk of injury, but it also ensures that we're actually able to operate at our best. So when our body is nice and loose and relaxed, we can then assert muscles without damage for the majority of the time. Obviously, there are times when we do damage ourselves, but for longer and with less risk. So that's the whole idea of this. So now I have the pleasure of introducing Ann Cramp. Many of you will know her as Annie. She's a remedial massage therapist, but she is so much more than that. So I've seen her and worked with her and seen her in action in FIT, TFA, USA Touch, numerous states of Australia, and many, many other levels of our game. She's amazing. She's highly sought after by those who have been in the game for a while, and she is a lovely, passionate, and friendly person. She's just amazing on all fronts. Very lucky to have some videos from her and some expert advice being shared. But yeah, if you ever need any advice, I'm sure she'll be more than happy to give you some if she has the time.
Hello, my name's Ann Cramp. I've been invited to share some of my knowledge around bodies and fitness and injuries with this up-and-coming referee group. I am a sports trainer, look after a very big football club here in Victoria called St Joseph's. I also tie in with Geelong Football Club. I am a myotherapist, remedial massage therapist, and I have had the honour of working over at your state tournament in WA, at New South Wales, Victoria, and also at the Australian Nationals for the past 8 years. And very, very fortunately, I've been the sports trainer to the referees at the last 2 World Cups. So how do you strengthen the arches of your feet and help with the steering and the takeoff of your feet when running? One of the simplest ways is to do 40 straight leg heel lifts. Now, I like to do them in the shower because 1, I'm in bare feet, 2, I can hold on to something, 3, I put conditioner in my hair and just use the time instead of standing there. So it looks like this. Sorry about the dog. You're going to lift up and down, and it's all about the center part of your ankle coming out over your second toe, and you're controlling the lift and the release. As you get tired, you tend to start to see things like this happen: incorrect patterning, incorrect lift pattern. And again, with running, with refereeing in touch, that's the same sort of thing that happens when you get tired. So you need to practice your strength coming center of ankle up over your second toe. 40 heel lifts every day. Make sure you're not cat clawing with your toes too much. They need to be nice and soft. Up and down. Center of the ankle over your second toe. Have fun.
Good morning, everyone. I thought today we would have a look at all of the muscles, ligaments and tendons that finish on the soles of your feet, and to help give you an understanding why calf stretching and rolling the soles of your feet either on a golf ball or a piece of dowel is a really sensible post-training procedure, and also during tournament one of the most valuable tools that you could have. It's something that you need to start practicing now. It's not something that you start as of day one of any tournament. So I'm going to use my little skeleton friend here, and we'll go through what terminates at the end of your feet and what you can do to help offload it.
So here's our skeleton, and we're going to be looking at the lower limb, and what we'll do, add a few muscles in, and you will see very quickly we get these really deep muscles between the 2 bones of the lower leg, and I've highlighted it, and if we follow him down and around, you will see that this terminates under the arch of the foot. See the yellow highlighted area? So this is tibialis posterior, and it is involved in hopping or taking off when your toes leave the ground. If we layer over all the other calf muscles that come, you'll see muscles down the side. You will see the things that flex toes. There's your big toe flexor. They all start right up deep under all of the calf muscle. Here's the soleus muscle, and here's the gastroc that most people know is what they would call calf. But we have so many other structures that we need to offload that terminate on the soles of our feet. Have another look. Here they all come down and around. So many structures. We're going to look at exercises and things to offload this area.
So moving on to blisters then. So blisters are something that happens quite often for referees, especially for those that don't change their socks regularly to air their feet out, don't have any other mechanisms that they use between games. To think about it, many people stay in the same shoes and socks, so changing them regularly is important, particularly in longer events, because as soon as you're sweating in your feet, you really want to get that dried out so that it doesn't then apply with any rubbing to have blisters. So this is information from Annie. I won't read it all to you, but basically many refs are baffled as to why they keep getting blisters, especially when they're running in the same shoes, trained the same way, nothing's changed in their mind. But really at tournaments, there's lots of other differences that happen. So the grounds could be harder or softer, the grass could be longer or shorter, it could be hotter or wetter than you used to, and you have to wear the socks that you're given at some tournaments, or it might be that those particular socks you haven't changed often enough, as I said before, so they've got moisture in them. All of those things lead to blisters and sore spots. Really critically, as soon as you get a blister or a sore spot, you have to address it early. As soon as possible is critical. It's not going to go away, it's only going to get worse. And you don't want to wait until it pops and you're in a lot of pain to try and fix the problem, because then it's too late. You can manage it, but it's better to manage before then. So really what we want you to think about is how can you practice your preparation and management of all these things before the game or tournament where possible, and learn how long it takes for your feet to get ready and plan for it in your pre-warm-up routine. So, do some things around foot care, around ensuring that you know what you should and shouldn't do to make sure that you don't continue to get these kinds of injuries.
My favourite offloading of the foot and calf structure implement is a simple piece of dowel about 30 centimetres long, and all you need to do is bring your feet forward. Start with your toes just over the edge, and it's a matter of lift and move forward minusculely. Lift and move forward, lift and move forward. It splays out all of those bones. There's some real ouchy spots in there. Lift and move forward, lift and move forward. Just till you get to your heels. Then you step off, back behind and reload again. And you will do this for about 2 minutes, really spreading out the bones of the feet. It's a wonderful recovery. It's great for that posterior chain, so hamstring length, lower back. It's a really simple one. So another really important stretch is hip flexor stretches. This is the section that runs through the top of your leg into this lumbar abdominal area. It's the main lifter when you're sprinting and want to get your leg nice and high into this position. It's also what gets jammed off the more you are seated and tucked in tight. If your glutes don't push your hips forward when you get out of a chair, you will find that you are coming forward, lifting up and expecting your back to get you up straight and go, oh gee, my back's sore. But in fact, it's that your hip flexors are tight, or that your glutes aren't pushing your hips forward. So we're going to stretch hip flexors. It's one leg forward, foot further forward than your knee so that you can lean into it. The main thing is that you tilt your pelvis as though you were trying to pee up the wall. By doing that, it means you can engage this hip flexor and drop forward. If you are tilting your pelvis down towards the ground, you will be able to go through a range and not even engage your hip flexor at all. So tilting your pelvis up, dropping forward and holding it. You can add it on by putting your arms up in the air. You can lean to one side. You can rotate. But generally, just come forward, pan up the wall, looking good.
So again, thank you so much to Eddie for sharing her tips and knowledge with us. I hope you feel inspired. I certainly do every time I listen to Annie speak, or she shows me a new stretch or a new activity on how I can do better for my own body. If you have any other ideas or tips or tricks that you're willing to share, send them through. Happy to add them to the video. Happy to have you speak about yourself and what you do and how you do it and why it makes a difference. This is your chance to jump on board, educate, inspire others. Please jump on board. We'd love to hear from you. It's not just about me and my perspective. It's about everyone coming together. that's what we can do, and making a difference. We all come together. So I'm sure we all do many things the same in our preparations, but we definitely do some things differently. So please, I won't pretend to be an expert of your body, only my own, but this is why we need your help, because other people around that are watching this and listening to this have different body types. They're not all the same as mine, and so they need to know different ways to do things. So the more we can share with each other, the better everyone's chances are to be injury free, complete our tournaments, take the workload off others that have to pick up the slack because of those incidents. So if you have ideas, please share them. You never know how many other people you will influence and help from simply sharing an idea and activity. Let's be part of the solution. Let's unite as one. Don't be afraid to reach out if you have questions. Remember to do all this stuff in the lead up to an event, not just at the event. There's nothing worse than you going and trying something new that makes it worse at an event. So you've got to practice things beforehand if you want to put things in place. Enhance your knowledge. Try our suggestions. Share some of them. Share your own. That's how we all grow. Yeah, we need to make sure that we have a growth mindset. We're learning, we're growing, we're developing. What have you got to lose? You just try something once. If it doesn't work for you, you try something else. But if you never try it, you never know if it works for you. Please reach out if you have any questions. We're happy to help. We're happy to feature you in our upcoming sessions or even add into this one. My contact details are on the page. Thank you for your time once again, and we hope to see you at our next session soon.